Welcome to Total Retail Talks, your podcast channel for retail knowledge.
Hello, and welcome to this episode of Total Retail Talks. I'm Joe Keenan, Editor-in-Chief of Total Retail. I'm joined on today's episode by Aaron Dunford, who is the Senior Director of Digital and Marketing at Nordstrom. And we're going to be speaking with Aaron today about the launch of Nordstrom's retail media network and the implications and what it's going to mean for Nordstrom's business. So thanks for joining me today, Aaron.
Great to be here, Joe.
So as I noted, I want to talk a little bit about the media network that Nordstrom recently announced the launch of. So first, tell our audience a little bit about the program and why it was important for the company to make this service available to its brand partners.
Sure. So our goal really is to make customers feel good and look their best. That's what we constantly focus on. And our media network helps us do that by two key pillars: service and connection. We have this amazing, highly engaged and loyal customer base who wants to discover new and relevant brands or products that fit their style. And we also committed a long time ago to be a partner of choice for our best brands. So there's a natural connection there to better serve the customer, and it's really that simple. Now the execution becomes a little bit more complex on how you do that, but the result is well worth the effort.
And there are obviously multiple components here. I want to talk first about the brand side of the media network and the impact to Nordstrom's brand partners. So tell us a little bit about what this will enable those, valued brand partners that are participating in the media network. What can they get out of this? What could they do from the media network?
Yes. So the Nordstrom Media Network enables that customer and brand connection to be made, as I was mentioning. And I think the best way to highlight that is actually with a real world example.
Yeah.
So if we put ourselves in the shoes of a customer, imagine I'm waiting in line at the grocery store, and scrolling through Instagram, and I see a personalized ad for Nordstrom about a new brand that I've never heard of before, or potentially a new product I didn't know that brand carried. Then I would go to Nordstrom.com from clicking on that ad to learn about the brand. And in the offering we provide, we have dedicated brand pages that provide immersive storytelling about that brand. So I go and I review that brand page and I learn that, wow, this brand supports the social causes I care about and really fits nicely with my style. So I'd actually like to buy some things. I then go to the search bar in Nordstrom.com and search for that brand, and a sponsored product ad appears that shows several of the products that brand carries. And then I click on one that I like and I purchase. That's really what we are offering our customers and our brands from a connection point. And that purchase is one of the ways we feel like we have achieved this service and connection goal, because we truly do believe the happiest customer at Nordstrom is usually the customer that is leaving with a bag in their hand or a package on their doorstep with an item that they love. So that's a real world example of how brands can leverage the Nordstrom Media Network.
Yeah, and that's super helpful to kind of give that real world example, really visualize it for our audience. From the brand perspective, I would imagine there's some tracking in place, or they're able to determine the transactions that are taking place as a result of the exposure in the media network. How are you kind of communicating that value and that tracking back to the brands that are participating?
It's a good question. I would say the first thing that comes to mind is transparency. That's the name of the game these days. And so we're trying to be ultra transparent with our brands on the performance. And we take what we call a kind of a drill methodology, where we start at a high level and work our way down. So we first start at, how is the brand performing overall across the shopping journey? And then start taking levels deeper on what drove that. And a component of that is the media that the Nordstrom Media Network supported the brand on. And we look at that in actually a couple attribution models, because we feel like there's a few different ways you want to look at that. We leverage multi-touch attribution. We also leverage a last click model that really helps to understand and triangulate overall performance. We also use native system reporting from our platforms. So we try to really hone in on the overall brand, how it's performing, and then how the media network drove that performance. Because, you know, at the end of the day, even if we saw great success with the Nordstrom Media Network, but the brand has areas that it's still struggling, we need to know about that, and we need to address those areas. So we try to take a very, you know, comprehensive 360-degree approach to that.
Yeah, exactly. And those brand partners, ensuring that they're happy with the media network and the end result that they're getting from it, rather, that's going to be critical to future growth of the media network. Conversely, let's go to the other side here and talk about the Nordstrom end customer and their interactions and how they will experience the media network. Tell us a little bit about how their shopping experience can be potentially enhanced through this.
Yeah, it's really about a better service experience. So we're really seeking to drive product discovery, curation, and inspiration with the media network. And that's something that our customers constantly tell us they're looking for. And one of the great things about e-commerce is we can offer our customers a much wider selection of products because we're not constrained by the physical capacity of a store. But, you know, with that comes the challenges of making sure that customers get connected to the product that is relevant for them. And so enabling connection is a big focus across all of Nordstrom, but we see the media network as a way to be, a vehicle that allows us to do that.
Will the media network in particular, do you view this, maybe it's both, but is it primarily a retention tool for your customers? Do you have that information about them already and you're able to serve up through the media network relevant brand and brand messaging and brand opportunities, brand advertisements? Or could it be more of an acquisition tool as well? Where do you foresee this kind of fitting in?
We see it really as both. I mean, first, we 100% want to service and support the customers that we have. And we have over 32 million customers across Nordstrom and Nordstrom Rack that we are actively engaged and want to be able to connect brands and those customers together through detailed storytelling. So that's where we start. But we also are focused on how do we expand our customer base and provide the services that Nordstrom provides to folks that we haven't had the pleasure of serving yet. And so we have started to do some things leveraging our data and matching up that data with a brand partner in a data clean room where it's anonymized, to then be able to start to target new audiences that neither the brand nor Nordstrom has, which allows another avenue for the media network to best serve our brand partners.
I want to follow up, Aaron, around that piece around anonymizing the data, and leads into my follow-up here question in terms of what Nordstrom is doing to provide that valuable data to the brand partners that are participating in the Nordstrom Media Network, but also keeping in mind protecting its end customers' data privacy. What are the steps you're doing there to make that a reality?
Yeah, I'm really glad you brought that up, because our customers' trust and privacy are extremely important to us. So that's where we start, being transparent about the data we collect, how we use it, and the privacy choices our customers can make with their data. And we make sure that's known across our platforms. Customers can go to Nordstrom.com right now and see that. But the second component I wanted to highlight is customers are telling us that they want a curated, personalized experience. And one of the examples I like to use that most people are familiar with is when you go to your video streaming platform of choice and are scrolling through recommendations and don't see something that's interesting to you, you get a little agitated, or at least I do. And it's funny, our society has actually created a name for this. It's called a show hole. And I personally can say I've experienced that show hole, and it's a little bit frustrating. And I went through that not too long ago. So to eliminate this frustration and receive better service, we're seeing that customers want to share that relevant data. In the example I use, sharing what sort of programming they are interested in to receive better service. And we're seeing that exact same thing at Nordstrom. And so that's what we're focused on, is earning the trust of the customer to then leverage the data to better serve them.
It's kind of, and correct me if I'm wrong, Aaron, would you consider it akin to a loyalty program? To that last point, if the customer is willing to give you their data, they expect then, relevant offerings, relevant marketing, but they value it. If it's relevant, they're gonna be willing to give up that information.
Yeah, you're exactly right. In one of the ways that our customers can give us their data is through a loyalty program. And the Nordy Club is a great vehicle for us to offer it to our customer access and convenience and differentiated service. And as they give us that data, we provide them more value, and that's what we're seeing the customer want. And so it's really just understanding, talking to the customer, seeing how they want curated and personalized experiences, building that trust with them, and then delivering on that trust.
Yeah. So we're still in the early days here of the Nordstrom Media Network, but I'm interested in kind of the initial reaction you're getting and you're hearing from early adopters, both on the brand side as well as your end customer, your end shopper at Nordstrom.
Overall feedback has been pretty positive. I would say our brand partners are excited about the ability to better connect with customers and inspire them through highly relevant storytelling. That feedback, I think, is realized in the rapid investment growth we have seen over the last few years, and we've shared that publicly. Regarding the future of the network, we still have a lot of runway to better unlock these pillars that we've been talking about of connection and storytelling. And I would say a few examples come to mind. One, we're constantly looking at platforms where our customers are spending their time and making sure our media network has a presence there. So it's pretty simple, no brainer, but we're on the lookout for new partnerships in the coming months and years as we are actively working on that. Another example that I think about is finding new formats that allow for better storytelling. So we consistently ask ourselves within our ecosystem, whether that be on Nordstrom.com, Nordstrom Rack, or in our stores, how can we better tell the brand story? And we are working on some things right now that we'll be sharing in the near future that unlocks better storytelling for our brand partners.
On that piece around the brand storytelling, and I'm interested in, who within the organization collaborates on that, who owns that kind of messaging and that content production. Tell us a little about the inner workings at Nordstrom to get that brand storytelling and to optimize the media network.
It is a multifaceted approach to working together, and we have a lot of people that need to come together in order to deliver on that. So really where it starts, and really the success of Nordstrom being a brand partner's choice is within our merchant organization, finding the best brands and products and developing that relationship. So that's where we start. Then from there, we bring in our Nordstrom Media Network team, which is inclusive of a wide variety of expertise, folks focused on audience, folks focused on executing through channels, a creative team. And the brand partner themselves and say, okay, what are the stories we're looking to tell and who are we looking to tell that to? Once we develop out that strategy, then we go straight through to execution and leverage our deployment teams and our analytics teams to measure performance and success. So I definitely left teams out, but that's just an example of kind of the complexity that I mentioned earlier. On the value proposition is simple, serving our customer. The execution can be a little bit more difficult, but it's definitely worth it.
Yeah, that's what you frequently hear. The ideas and the value prop is clearly mapped out. How you get to that end point sometimes is a little more complex, but you're certainly working your way there at Nordstrom. So my final question, Aaron, is, and again, it's still early in this development of the Nordstrom Media Network, but what are the business benefits? Obviously, when you launch a project like this, there's end goals. Tell us a little bit about what you hope to realize in terms of some of the benefits related to the media network, and then one other follow-up there, but I'll let you address that first in terms of the kind of business benefits.
Sure. It really goes back to that value prop. Benefit is serving the customer. That's why we're here. With regards to measurement, we have a long list of quantitative and qualitative indicators we use to make sure that we're accomplishing that goal. But I always go back to, as I mentioned earlier, we believe a customer purchase is one of the greatest ways we know we have achieved our service and connection goal, because we believe typically the happiest customer at Nordstrom is usually the customer that's leaving with a bag in their hand or a package on their doorstep. So while we look at dozens and dozens of certain metrics, that's really the one that lets us know that we're doing a good job.
Yeah, and you kind of addressed my second part of the question, which I was going to ask a little bit about measuring performance. You've talked about that kind of how you're doing that and on a regular basis as well.
Yes. The goal is, the great thing about digital is there's no shortage of metrics. So it's finding the ones that are actually indicative of what the customer is thinking and feeling and experiencing, and honing in on those. And so that's where we're focused.
Great. Well, I want to take the opportunity to thank Aaron Dunford, again, the Senior Director of Digital and Marketing at Nordstrom, for joining us on today's episode of Total Retail Talks and giving us some great insights into Nordstrom's recently released media network and all the good things that has to come. So thank you for joining me, Aaron.
Thank you.
Thanks for listening. For more information on this podcast, please check out our podcast channel page at mytotalretail.com/podcasts for show notes. Total Retail Talks is available on Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Stitcher, and Spotify. Make sure to subscribe on our podcast channel page as well. If you've enjoyed this episode, please take a few moments to rate and review this podcast. Thanks, and until next time, this has been Total Retail Talks.